What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm here to break down the NASCAR Cup Series slate on Draftkings at the Atlanta Motor Speedway. We got a big weekend of racing, 2 races on Saturday, 1 on Sunday. This is the Sunday Cup Series race. If you haven't already, go check out the Xfinity Series and the Truck Series video. If you're watching this before those races, which are on Saturday. As always, if you're new here, make sure to leave a like on this video and subscribe to this channel. It really helps me grow. Just trying to continue the growth we've had throughout all year long, all season long. Just want to keep that up. And then if you want to get more of my content, you can always subscribe to my Patreon. I'll put the link down below. It's $10 a month for all 3 series combined. You're going to get two spreadsheets with all the stats you need to know, along with projections. You're also going to get rankings, cash cores. You're going to get what each driver needs to pay off their salary, past the optimal lines, what I expect the optimal lines to look for each race, and pretty much all that kind of stuff. So be sure to go check that out. I'll put the link down below. And then, as always, you can follow me on Twitter at @NateLane_. So yeah, as always, do that. That's really all I got to say on that. Let's get into the breakdown notes, what you guys are here for. Kevin Harvick is going to be the most expensive driver. And actually, before I get into every driver, if you've been following me for a while now, I've kind of changed the way I'm looking at stats now. Ever since we've had COVID and NASCAR, we've had no practices, no qualifying, and everything's a lot different. So I felt like the stats that are basically just from races from last year and then just this year are more important. So all my stats are only going to be last year races. I think that's just, we've seen a lot of stuff, especially like when you just look at someone like Kyle Busch, for example. Like, he has, some of the best average finishes at all these tracks, but, it's not panning out last year and this year because, he needs practice. He's, the number one driver in NASCAR, I think, at least out of the top guys, who needs practice. So Kyle Busch is just an example of all this, and I think that all that stuff's really important, so we are going to be using only stats from the last season. Actually, I don't have any from this year loaded in, but I kind of know them off the top of my head, so, or I know what drivers have been doing this year because I've just been watching all year, so. We're going to start with Kevin Harvick. He's $11,000, most expensive driver, and Atlanta's kind of been known as like his track the last few years. He's just absolutely dominated here. Won this race a year ago. So when we look at the average finishes at Atlanta last year, he has the best average finish, but at intermediate tracks, he's the best as well. Only 5th at cookie cutters, though, but still the best at large ovals. It's going to look really good for him. When we go look at laps led, he dominated this race last year, leading 151 laps. 868 at intermediates a year ago and 282 at cookie cutters, 569 at large ovals. He's been dominant, but this year, that the whole Stewart-Haas team as a whole has just not really been that great. Now, they haven't been bad, but for Kevin Harvick standards, he's been bad. He hasn't led laps. He's not, contending for wins. He's, getting top tens, but that worries me a little bit. I know he's great at Atlanta, but that does still worry me a little bit. Does he get back on track this week? Yeah, maybe, but that's still going to scare me a little bit. I don't think Kevin Harvick's really one of my favorite plays here. I understand if you want to play him, the track history is amazing, but I'm not really, looking too much to go based on track history. I haven't seen the speed from Harvick yet this year, and I don't think we're going to see it this week either. Kyle Busch starts 19th. I think you're just paying too much for Kyle Busch here. He just hasn't shown the speed so far this year. Only race we really saw legit speed from Kyle Busch was the road course. Obviously, it's a lot different than Atlanta. He has second best average finish at Atlanta, 5th at intermediates, 6th at cookie cutters, and 6th at large ovals. Did run well here at Atlanta last year, 3rd average position. This was a good race for him, but only 189 laps led at intermediates last year, 180 cookie cutters, and 181 at large ovals. That's just not, from years ago, that's just not Kyle Busch standards, but, right now it is. So Kyle Busch, not going to be too interested there. I think he gets a top 10, but it's really not going to pay off that salary, $10,700. You still, I don't really want to pay for place differential with that high of a price tag, so I'm probably not going to go there. Kyle Larson is $10,400. He starts 6th. He is, in my opinion, right now the favorite to win the championship. He's looks really good, man. This has been the best car week in and week out. Just most consistent car. We've seen him be fast literally every single race this year. Daytona doesn't really matter, but he was even fast. He had a top 10 run in that, I believe, too. So, $10,400 starting 6th. I want to play it. I think he can lead laps. He can get fast laps. Draftkings finally priced him up, so I'm cool with that. I like Kyle Larson. He's probably my favorite 10K play. Really like him here. I like Keselowski as well, starting 4th. He's looked fast this year as well, and he was fast at intermediates a year ago. Second best average finish at intermediates, 3rd at cookie cutters, and 2nd at large ovals. And then when you look at laps led, 391 at intermediate, only 41 at cookie cutters, and 117 at large ovals, but still not really too worried about that. I think Keselowski starting 4th. He offers a lot of dominator potential, and he's probably my second favorite play in this 10K range. And then Denny Hamlin would be my 3rd favorite play. He's been kind of fast this year, not he hasn't been, crazy. This isn't Denny Hamlin last year, but he's still, been competitive running up front. The problem is Denny Hamlin starts on the pole this week, and I think that's going to, cause him to be really popular. So I'm going to keep going to the, kind of fade the pole sitter thing. I didn't end up going that with Keselowski last week, but, Keselowski at flat tracks is like a cheat code. Hamlin at intermediates, I don't think that's a cheat code. So Denny Ham won $10,000 starting on a pole. I think I'm gonna look other places here. I don't think he's an awful play, but if Kyle Larson was on the pole, it'd be a different story. If Chase Elliott was on the pole, it'd be a different story. But Denny Hamlin being on the pole, I don't feel a need to really go there, so I'm probably gonna be off him this week. Now we move on to the 9K range, where we're gonna start Chase Elliott at $9,800. He's been a one entry car. Surprisingly, that has not looked like incredibly fast this year, but he's still been fine. I mean, we saw at Vegas he had a fast car, got some damage on pit road, and that just really threw his car off. At Miami, the Miami one was a little surprising. He didn't do as great at, and then last week in Atlanta, or I'm sorry, at Phoenix, he had a decent car, just not really a lap leader car. He starts fifth here. I think he has lap lead upside. The intermediate tracks are good for him, not his best though. He has 470 laps led at intermediate, which is pretty good. 92 at cookie cutters and 149 at large ovals. I like that. He can get up front and he can definitely get some fast laps. If he just tunes into what his Hendrick teammates are doing, Chase Elliott's just going to be awesome here. I think people are going to start to go away from him because he just hasn't lived up to what we've seen from Chase Elliott, especially last year. But I'm going to keep going there. I know the talent's there, I know the car's there, and I know his teammates are there too. So I'm willing to keep going to Chase Elliott at $9,800. Next up is Truex, 9,600, starting second. He won last week at Phoenix. I like going right back to him. Truex, he didn't have as much of a dominant year per se last year, but he was still running up front all the time. Third best average finish in Atlanta, third at intermediate, second at cookie cutters, and third at large ovals. When you look at average position, he had the best average position in Atlanta a year ago, third at intermediates, third at cookie cutters, and sixth at large ovals. 537 laps still at intermediates a year ago, 65 at Atlanta, 220 at cookie cutters, and 324 at large ovals. I'd like going back to Truex here. I know he starts on the front row, but I like going back there. He's been the fastest Gibbs car this year, and I think that probably continues. So at $9,600, I'm totally cool going to Martin Truex Jr. Joey Logano, $9,400, starting third. I think he's okay. Last year only had the sixth best average finish at intermediates, seventh at cookie cutters, and seventh at large ovals. When you look at laps led, only 293 at intermediates, 100 at cookie cutters, and 192 at large ovals. I don't have a problem playing Logano because he's Joey Logano. If you want to play Logano, whatever, that works for me. But I don't see the need to. I don't necessarily think that this is a spot that he, I think it's less likely that he's a dominator in this race than is like Truex or Elliott. So I'm not really 100% sold on Logano here. If you want to play him, that's fine, but I prefer a lot of other guys over him. Ryan Blaney's $9,200, starting 10th. I do like Blainey. Going back to Blainey here, that was a guy I was really high on last week who ended up really doing well for me. He ended up fading towards the end of the race, but he led laps. He did enough. He did enough to pay off that salary. He has the fourth best average finish at Atlanta, eighth at intermediates, the best at cookie cutters a year ago, fifth at large ovals, and average position was even better. Seventh at Atlanta, fourth intermediates, first at cookie cutters and large ovals. 387 laps led at intermediates a year ago, 174 at cookie cutters, and 292 at large ovals. Starts 10th, offers you a little bit of place differential as well. I think he has dominator upside. I'm definitely going to like that. William Byron got priced up. DraftKings is calling on to these Hendrick cars being really fast, and William Byron is 9K, starting 9th. Didn't think I'd see a day of that, but I'm fine if it was, again, William Byron's had fast laps every single week, led laps at both Vegas and Homestead, so I really like William Byron still. He's always going to be, I think he's going to be someone we got to pay attention to as like a dominator. That's probably not going to be a top-end dominator, not going to dominate every week, but that potential's there every week as well, and that's going to be something we got to look at. So at $9,000, I'm completely fine paying for William Byron here. That's definitely something I like. As well as I like his teammate Alex Bowman. Bowman's had some bad luck the last few weeks, getting caught up in wrecks and stuff, but he's still got a really fast car. I'm still trusting that Hendrick speed, starting 14th, and he's been really good at these intermediate tracks. The finishes don't show for it, but his average position does. 9th best average position in Atlanta, 5th at intermediate, 6th at cookie cutters, and 7th at large ovals. When you look at laps led too, he has 421 laps led intermediates over last year. 258 at cookie cutters and 374 at large ovals. Not in Atlanta, but that's fine. He's done well. Tracks very similar here. I'm telling you, this guy's getting a win soon, and I'm willing to pay for it. Austin Cindric, man, DraftKings made him expensive. I was really interested to see what his price tag was going to be, starting 39th in a Penske car, but I'm not going to play Austin Cindric at all. He's way too expensive. This is his first race in a Cup Series that's not, the Daytona 500, a normal rate, like a normal oval. And this is a new package for him. Like the Xfinity and Cup Series cars are just completely different from each other. And we really see that with the struggles that Chase Briscoe's had so far this year. And I just don't think it's guaranteed that Austin Cindric comes in and has like a top 20 run, which is what he's going to need to pay off that salary. I think he can get top 25. I'm not going to really go there. I know he's good at the intermediates in the Xfinity Series, but at the same time, this is not the Xfinity Series. This is the Cup Series. So I don't think I want to pay for that. I was expecting, and him to be in the 7K range and be like, okay, that's probably a fine play. It's not amazing, but man, $8,600 is a lot. So I'm not going to play him. It's just too expensive. I'd rather pay $200 less for Reddick starting 29th. I'm more confident in Tyler Reddick here in the Cup Series car. 13th best average finish in Atlanta, 15th at intermediates, 10th at cookie cutters, and 15th at large ovals. He isn't going to lead you any laps, but he could definitely get a top 10 and for sure a top 15. So I do like Tyler Reddick here at 8,400. He's going to be someone I want to key in on. Kurt Busch is another one who's just, he's been great at Atlanta. Like this might be his best track in NASCAR. He's got a ton of wins here over his whole career, but even last year was just balling out at Atlanta in the intermediates. 6th best average finish at Atlanta, 6th at intermediates, 4th at cookie cutters, and 4th at large ovals. He has top 5 upside starting 11th. Love it. Matt DiBenedetto's $8,100. He starts 20th. I think that's kind of just where he hangs around. Probably 15 to 20 range is probably where Matt DiBenedetto finishes. So not going to be all that excited for that. This kind of 7-8 grade range is kind of dead. It's not a great range to target. Eric Almirola the same way, starting 16th. I just think he hangs around there. I'm not going to be too interested there. Christopher Bell, I think he's interesting because he's in a better equipment so far this year. That car has been fast. It can get up inside that top 5, which would be interesting if he does that. It's only going to be a tournament play for sure. I wouldn't call him, someone that I'm super excited about, but definitely there is some interest there because of that Joe Gibbs Racing car, and we've seen the speed so far this year. I know it was at the road course, but we've seen him have top 10, close to top 5 runs this year as well. So I think he finished 7th or 8th last week, so had another good run. I could see it again. I could see Christopher Bell getting inside that top 5, and at that point, that's going to pay off that salary. Cole Custer, $7,600, starting 27th. Cole Custer has, been last week. Everyone got pissed off because he got wrecked by Bubba Wallace, which I was kind of included in that. That was really unfortunate. A few laps left, he was paying off salary, and Bubba kind of just dumped him. I don't really know what happened there, but I don't think it was intentional or anything. It's just an unfortunate moment for us DFS players. But Cole Custer starting 27th was having a good run. He's definitely a top 15 car, could compete for a top 10. At $7,600, I'm fine paying for that. Bubba Wallace starts 15th. Finally had a good race last week when everyone was off of him. Not me, though. I love Bubba. I love Bubba in that 23 car. That 23 car is fast, man. And I'm telling you, it could be a top 10 car. I'm going to play Bubba Wallace pretty much every week. I'm going to keep going there. I don't think this stands out as a very good play or anything, but it stands out as a good enough play. It's something that could, get you, something that has upside to get you inside that top 10. I'm really going to be interested there, and I'm going to go there. Austin Dillon, I like here starting 13th. He could definitely get you a top 10. 10th best average finish at Atlanta, 11th at intermediates, 9th at cookie cutters, and 12th at large ovals. I like that. I think that's definitely something I want to attack. I'm definitely going to be interested there in Austin Dillon. Ryan Newman starting 28th. I'm still not sold on that car, man. I'm just not sold on it. I know he had that good run at Miami, but ever since then he hasn't, so I'm probably still going to be off of him. Eric Jones starting 22nd is kind of interesting, but I don't know, man. It's just that 43 car is not that great. I expect him to kind of just hang there all day long. I'd rather pay for Chase Briscoe. I know Briscoe's struggled this year, but the equipment is better than Eric Jones. I believe Briscoe could still get up inside that top 18 or something like that to pay off that salary. So Briscoe I'm going to be kind of interested in, but still really not that much. Ross Chastain, no. Daniel Suarez has got a price of $6,500. I think he just kind of finishes there, maybe a little farther up, so probably not going to be too interested. Ricky Stenhouse Jr., man, are we doing this again? He's still cheap. He's not as cheap as he was last week, though. That's the problem. If he was as cheap as he was last week, that'd be a different story, but he's not. So it's $6,300 starting 12th. Probably not going to be all that interested in him, but he has been fast this year. The JTG cars, both of them have looked pretty solid, so I think he's interesting for value if you want to go there. I don't hate it. Michael McDowell, he's just going to hang around there all day. Chris Buescher, though, I like Chris Buescher at 6K because he's in much better equipment. He's in that 17 car. He's probably not going to, but he could compete for a top 10. And at that point, I'm going to be interested at 6K. But below that, I think Ryan Preece actually is kind of interesting at $5,800 just because, that car, the JTG cars look fast. They've been top 15 cars all year long so far, pretty much. So I don't hate it. If you want to go to Ryan Preece at $5,800 starting 23rd, I think that's a fine value play. I like it more than the McDowell. I like it more than Stenhouse. So if you want to go there, I think that's fine. Haley, I'm not going to play. That car's bad. Anthony Alfredo starting 32nd. He'll probably finish 28th. So not going to do you much there. Corey LaJoie not going to play. Everyone else down here not going to play. Value's kind of tough on this slate, so you might not want to get any of these 10K guys. Might want to focus in on a Blainey Truex lineup or something like that, and pay more for the 7K range down here. But yeah, that's really all I got to say. Thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to leave a like and subscribe on this video. Make sure to check out the Patreon if you want to get more of my content. Follow me on Twitter. And I didn't even mention this. Of course, I forgot. I'll be going live on Sunday. 11:30 or 12-ish around there. It depends when college basketball games start, to be honest. So we'll decide on Sunday morning, and I'll be answering any of your questions that you guys have. But that's really all I got. Have a great rest of your weekend, and let's make some money.